In this century, great strides have been made toward the goal of subverting our republic into a democracy. The foremost tactic of the subverters is subversion of language. By calling America a democracy until people thoughtlessly accept and use the term, the totalitarians have obscured the real meaning of our principles of government. That is a summary of my report on a constitutional republic, not a democracy.
Welcome back to Notify America. We have multiple pressing stories to get to, stories that include an update on Ray Epps, the alleged FBI informant who was caught red-handed encouraging protesters to enter the Capitol. Also, Harvard's first black female president, something that just makes all these social justice warriors all warm and fuzzy inside, just resigned after being caught plagiarizing over 15 times. Well, we all know about that, but we have an update on what Harvard's now doing to remedy the situation. Wait till you hear about this. Also, Vivek Ramaswamy dismantles a woke reporter after being asked to condemn white supremacy, a term that has absolutely zero meaning. It's an academic construct used to divide people and as a hook used by lazy reporters trying to find an easy story. Well, Vivek dismantles this tired talking point and leaves the reporter speechless. We have the video, and the largest migrant caravan yet is making its way through Mexico right now, comprised of more than 15,000 people from 24 countries, all of them marching toward the U.S. southern border. But before we get started, press the like button, subscribe, share the video with a friend. All of that helps out with the YouTube algorithm. Ray Epps, the man many suspect was working for the FBI as an informant during the January 6th Capitol riot, the man who was caught on camera yelling and encouraging protesters to enter the Capitol, has still not seen a day in jail, unlike hundreds of others who have been sentenced to 12 to 22 years in jail, many for simply walking onto the Capitol grounds, not doing anything violent, acting respectfully, peacefully, walking and talking to Capitol Police, but even they got prison time. So why isn't Ray Epps? We have him on camera encouraging an insurrection, right? Yelling at protesters to enter the Capitol. We have it all on video. Watch.
Here it is.
We need to go in to the Capitol. Let's go! I'm going to put it out there. I'm probably going to go to jail for it. Tomorrow, we need to go into the Capitol. Into the Capitol.
What do you think he's looking at? 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, like many of the other protesters? I don't think so. The DOJ is asking for 6 months in jail. That's according to a newly released sentencing memorandum that cites compelling mitigating factors. Listen to this. It says, although Epps engaged in felonious conduct during the riot on J6, his case includes a variety of distinctive and compelling mitigating factors, which led the government to exercise its prosecutorial discretion and offer Epps a pre-indictment misdemeanor plea resolution. I wonder what mitigating factors they're referring to. Could it be that he's an FBI informant, a CI, a confidential informant who got outed? Well, his attorney is arguing that Epps should face no jail time, that all of this is just an elaborate conspiracy. Writing this, Ray Epps has been the target of a false and widespread conspiracy theory that he was an undercover government agent on J6. Actually, no, people have claimed that he was a CI, an FBI informant, not an FBI agent. It's a big difference. And with the slow walking of charging him for 3 years after he was caught dead to rights on a videotape inciting a riot, encouraging people to storm the Capitol, it's only logical to assume they aren't charging him for a reason. Maybe because he was asked to do that, possibly. In another story, Vivek Ramaswamy confronts a Washington Post reporter who challenges him to condemn white supremacy, a term, by the way, that has zero meaning. What exactly are they asking you to condemn when they say that, white supremacy? Notice how they don't ask you to condemn racism. They say white supremacism. They do that purposefully. Ask one of these people to define the term white supremacy and they'll melt away because they don't know what it means. They know that 99.999% of people condemn racism, that the vast majority of people in America don't even think about race anymore. Well, Vivek was having none of it, refusing to adhere to what he deems a catechism of modern wokeism. Watch this.
You didn't say that you condemn white supremacy.
I'm not going to recite some catechism for you. I'm against vicious racial discrimination in this country. So I'm not pledging allegiance to your new religion of modern wokeism, which actually fits the test. I'm not going to bend the knee to your religion. I'm sorry. I'm not asking you to bend the knee to mine, and I'm not going to bend the knee to yours. But do I condemn vicious racial discrimination? Yes, I do. Am I going to play your silly game of gotcha? No, I'm not. And frankly, this is why people have lost trust. And I know you're going to go print the headline tomorrow. I already know this. We already know how your game works. Vivek Ramaswamy refuses to condemn white supremacy because you asked a stupid question. The reality is, I condemn vicious racial discrimination in this country, but the kind of vicious and systematic racial discrimination we see today is discrimination on the basis of race in a very different direction. You want to know what the best way is to end discrimination on the basis of race? Stop discriminating on the basis of race. Do that, and we're going to move this country forward. And I don't care whether you're black or white or brown or anything in between. That's how we're going to unite this country. You people have been responsible for dividing this country to a breaking point, creating a projection of national division. I meet people from the south side of Chicago to meetings like this one of every shade of melanin, multiple, from man to woman, doesn't make a difference, who are hungry for reviving unity in this country. And you, with your catechism that you try to get to politicians to whatever fake headline you're going to print on the basis of this conversation tomorrow, that's what's dividing this country to a breaking point. Shame on you. Look people in the eye and tell them what you've actually failed to tell them for the last 5 years. Own the accountability for your own failures as the media. That's how we rebuild trust in this country. And until then, I don't have a lot of patience to play the games.
The first black female president of Harvard just resigned after being caught plagiarizing over 50 times throughout her career. All the scrutiny, though, came after her botched congressional testimony a few weeks ago. But here's the crazy part. After she was caught plagiarizing, she wasn't fired. For weeks, case after case showing her plagiarism have been pouring out, and Harvard just continues standing behind her. Like what the hell is happening here? Just that last sentence alone could be a Babylon Bee headline. Harvard supports president after we caught her plagiarizing. It's just insane. Well, it took 50 times, 50 different instances of her plagiarism before she decided to step down. And here's the best part. After everyone thought that the world was finally coming back into order, that the stars were aligning once again, that we're not living in some upside down world, but then Harvard announces this. Claudine Gay will now return to a role within the political science department and will retain a salary on the same level as while she was president. That means they hired her back at the same salary she had, $900,000 a year. What the hell is happening in this world, folks? This is what happens when you abandon meritocracy. It's what happens when you live in a cult and one of the most supposed prestigious universities in the world refuses to reject plagiarism. But you know, if it wasn't for diversity, she be canned so fast your head would spin. In another story, the invasion of our southern border continues as the largest migrant caravan yet, dubbed Poverty Exodus, has recently departed southern Mexico and is heading straight for the U.S. southern border. This is a group of over 15,000 individuals. You may have seen the video of them making their way through southern Mexico last week. Well, nobody in the U.S. seems to give a damn about this. Vice President Kamala Harris, for instance, the border czar, was delegated this specific responsibility 2 years ago to stop the flow of illegal immigrants crossing the southern border, at least get it under control. Well, she has epically failed in that role. During the Trump administration, we averaged around 50,000 crossings per month. Now we're over 300,000 per month. If it continues at this volume, that'll be close to 4 million people this year in 2024. And don't forget, it's both parties, folks, that let this happen, that refuse to solve the issue. These politicians are just spineless. If they wanted to solve the problem, they would. Instead, they let it happen. Just think about it. 4 million people. They have to go somewhere. They need somewhere to live. They need jobs, food, shelter, houses. Realize these people don't come over here and just live in the shadows anymore. That was 10, 20 years ago they used to do that. Live under the table, work under the table. They work with these NGOs nowadays. They're set up with all the right paperwork. A lot of times they take on new identities with valid passports, abandoning their old identity once they cross the border. All right, that wraps up this episode. Like, subscribe. I'll see you next time.